Open, winds rage through open doorways. In the midst of the ice floor, a dark-eyed hole opens. With benumbed hands, you put down the needle, stand up and dive into the depths, leaving behind the hollow-eyed skin, and although I know that face, it is not you. I know where you are to be found. You dwell in darkness, conducting a ceaseless whistling. The ice holds. Sparks fly from the keen-edged blades on my feet. The ice shavings whirl into my wake. When dawn comes, calm settles on the icy surface. The sun pours its joy in bowlfuls over hill and dale. Its brilliance so blindingly bright that suddenly I stumble, whirl round in circles. The ice shutters under me. Rapids roar in the distance. The ocean meets my gaze, glittering waves at the edge of heaven. Ice floes arch their hunched backs above the sea's surface. I keep clear of cracks, pay no heed to the dark hum of a sound from the deep. I'm not alone, I am accompanied. Under the ice, the shadow of a fin.
Check, please, boss leader. It feels like those films of men on the moon who jump and take a forever leap, who launch a golf ball that disappears against black sky, while the narrator says, all skies will be black without our oxygen atmosphere. Beep, beep, beep. This guy is a ship blood pressure. His skin is the white on blue, red lace lines of death. I say, ashpane 0.6 going in as I inject. And this is also my nightmare of war. The enemy, invisible, shots in the dark, everyone confused, rushing, but in one tiny panic place. All is such calm because the end is near, or the end is far.
The direction in which they were traveling stalled all traffic. The car windows were rolled up instantly. The people were within touching distance. The vast crawling snake seemed to be an election rally, although he could not tell. The posters were all in Urdu, a language he couldn't read, and he couldn't make out a single word amid the shouting of slogans. They could have been in an utterly foreign country. The boy had his nose pressed to the window. He had never seen anything like this. There was no telling how far back it went, for how long the people would keep coming in an infinitely renewing stream. We just have to wait until it passes, right? He asked the driver. A pointless question. The driver shrugged. Time in this country flowed in a different way from the rest of the world. It was a flow that carried him a long time ago when he was a boy growing up in Calcutta, but now he could no longer step into it. It was an alien and treacherous stream.
Written a secret will, bequeathing my skateboard to Julie and my lifeless body to Elf, which I hoped would make her feel really guilty for leaving me to die alone. I had nothing else but my skateboard and my body to give to people, but I attached a note of gratitude to my parents and a drawing of a motorcycle with the New Hampshire state motto, live free or die. And by the way, I said, I'm not reading those horse books anymore. What are you reading then? My sister asked. Adorno, I said. She laughed. Oh, because you saw that I'm reading him? She asked. Don't say reading him, I said. You think you're so big. Yoli, said Elf, don't say you think you're so big. That's what everyone around here says when somebody purports to know about something. I could say tomorrow's Thursday, and you'd say, oh, you think you're so big. Don't say it anymore. It's déplacé. Our mother said, Elf, come on, enough advice on how to live like a dilettante. You'll be gone soon. We should be using this precious time to have fun. Elf sank back and explained that she was just trying to help me survive the world outside our hamlet. And also, she added, dilettante is the exact wrong word for you to have 15 brothers and sisters, so she knew about keeping the peace. Our father suggested we play I Spy. Oh my God, Elf whispered into my ear, are we 6? Don't ever tell them I've had 3 different types of sex already, okay? What do you mean? I said 3. Elf told me that after the poet Shelley drowned, his body was cremated right there on the beach, but his heart didn't burn, so his wife Mary kept it in a small silk bag in her desk. I asked her if it wouldn't have rotted and begun to smell, but she said no, it had calcified like a skunk, and that really it was only the remains of his heart. I told her that I would do that for her too, keep her heart with me in my desk or in my gym bag or my pencil case, somewhere very safe, and she hugged me and laughed and told me I was sweet, but that really it was a romantic thing for lovers to do.
First chapter, he had run into an ex-girlfriend in New York on the street, and they had an encounter. It did not go very well. It ended with her calling him an asshole and storming off. So this is chapter 2. Nate had not always been the kind of guy women call an asshole. Only recently had he been popular enough to inspire such ill will. Growing up, he had been considered nice. He was also a wonderkind of advanced placement classes, a star debater, and a fledgling songwriter whose extra credit homage to Madonna for Math Appreciation Week, like a cosign, solved for the very first time, had unfortunately been broadcast to the entire upper school. Despite playing on the varsity soccer and baseball teams since 10th grade, granted his was a Jewish day school, he never quite achieved the reputation of an athlete. He didn't repel girls exactly. They sought him out for help with bio or calculus, even for advice about their personal problems. They flirted with him when they wanted an ego boost, and then they told him about their crushes on Todd or Mike or Scott. Nate wasn't much to look at back then. Dark-haired and skinny, he had a pale, sunken chest that he felt made him look cowardly, as if he were perpetually shrinking back. Though he wasn't painfully short, he wasn't tall either. His hands, eyebrows, nose, and Adam's apple appeared to have been intended for a much larger person. This caused him to hold out hope, even as high school progressed, that he might spring up another couple inches.
Happy, explained Dr. Greta Algasser, Opal's mother, who knew these things. People think they're happy because they look like they're smiling. But that's just the shape of their mouth, so that they can uncoil their tongues very rapidly to catch flies. Why do they catch flies? Opal asked. That is their food, her mother explained. So, when they get one, it must make them happy, said Opal triumphantly. For a second, she felt as though she had won. But of course, she never wins, and her mother answered, it doesn't make them want to smile. Her father, Herr Dr. Heinz Algasser, concurred. Why would a frog smile? The idea seemed to make him smile, and Opal was pretty sure this wasn't just to catch flies. Opal's parents were always right. It was an established fact. Her mother was a biologist and her father a physicist. Her mother taught at Harvard in a building Opal liked to visit only because they had most every kind of flower reproduced in glass, standing in bloom, forever delicate as the real ones. She didn't visit her father at MIT. They were both famous. Her father, who championed string theory, he had explained this many times to Opal. But she didn't understand it and didn't want it explained again. In the summer, they left Boston for their 100-year-old stone house with colored glass windows, like a church in the woods in the North Shore. It was a good place to be in the summer. As soon as you left Boston, or at least when you got past tough and grimy Chelsea, the world turned green and wooded and seemed to be filled with ever more wildlife, as though they had come from wilder parts of New England to summer in the North Shore, just like Bostonians.
Today with Ali who's there, and if you've seen my shoes, you can imagine it was a difficult hike up the mountain. I'll be reading from my latest novel, When Time Runs Out. What you need, well, first of all, this is like the secret English translation that nobody has seen yet. Not even myself. The first time I saw it was the day before yesterday, and the first time I was reading from this was yesterday. I was really nervous. This is the second time. The novel was, after my two previous novels, they were quite dark. Actually, one of them has been published in the US, in the UK, the names when I forgot. And it was dark, and the second one was dark, and I decided I'll write something light and happy and funny. And then I ended up writing about a young man who starts shooting random people. And and then you can imagine how light and funny it is. But it's not about violence still. The novel, it's narrated by his mother and sister, so it's more about family relations and love and forgiveness. And the part I'm going to read is going to be narrated by the sister, Ava, who works as a doctor in Somalia. I close my eyes The rod digs his thumbs into my shoulders at the spots where hard walls protrude. The pain shoots down to my toes. I grit my teeth and let the tears well up in my eyes. Too hard, he asks. Harder. My shoes lie sprawled on the floor next to the door of the prefab structure. The soles are caked with dried mud, the lace is rusty with sand. My long skirt, scarf, bulletproof vest, and helmet are heaped on the bed. I took them off the second I walked in, stood in the middle of the room in my biggest bra and panties. My skin pale, even though the sun shines here constantly this time of year. Impressions from the bulletproof vest under my arms. It's the same underwear I wear every time I go onto the field.
Of this place to write the biography of these animals, and without telling Gloria, to write a biography of her. So that's what I'm going to read to you from tonight. And what I thought I would do is just tell you a tiny bit. When I first got there, I was given very menial chores. We realized I couldn't just be a journalist who parachutes in and gets the story and leaves. In order to really connect with the animals and to build relationships with them, I would have to spend a lot of time in the chimp house, which is where the chimps live, this maximum security 3-story building in the middle of Gloria's hobby farm. And it's this incredible place of where the vast majority of it is chimpanzee territory. It's a place the humans don't go. It's divided from the human areas by big walls of caging. And in the chimp area, as you'll see, there's crossover tunnels and walkways and privacy rooms and big 3-story play structures and window doors into the outside where they can hang out on islands and feel grass beneath their feet for the first time for many of them in their entire lives. And my role there was to, at the start, make their breakfast. And then I was told to make their smoothies. And they called me Smoothie Boy for a long, long time. And then I got a promotion. I had a lovely interaction with 2 of the chimps named Regis and Jethro, and I got a promotion. And I thought I would just read to you from what that entailed. Gloria must have heard about my breakthrough with Regis and Jethro, because it seems I'm up for another big promotion this morning. It's Wednesday, cleaning day again, when the chimp house gets washed top to bottom. Instead of my usual post at the sink, washing mountains of urine-soaked toys and poop-stained musical instruments, this morning Gloria has outfitted me with my very own plastic broom and shovel and an industrial-sized garbage can. Kim and Linda are excited about my new responsibilities because they won't have to do so much of the dirty work. Today, my recurring dream of crossing boundaries will become stark reality.
We're going to live on Mars, and this is my vision, this is my plan, but this is my first one. And it's about a family, and they're half German, half English, German father, English mother. And one of my non-fiction books, I wrote 4 biographies, including one of Queen Victoria, also one of Elizabeth II, so I now have a sideline in talking about the royals. If anyone wants to know what's inside the Queen's handbag, just let me know. And Queen Victoria, there's nothing that she reveals more in her life, how much the British adored the Germans during the 19th century. She married every one of her 9 children pretty much into German royal families, spreading haemophilia across Europe, but never mind. And apart from Edward VII, the future Edward VII, who she was looking for a wife who was beautiful and deaf, so she wouldn't hear about all his affairs. That was the kind of plans that she married him to Alexandra, Denmark. But Victoria, with her adored Albert, loved Germany, and the British followed suit. And so they were seen as the best artists, the best musicians, the best waiters. Every posh hotel had a German waiter. And so when the war broke out in 1914, a surprise to so many people, despite the arms race that preceded it, suddenly overnight the Germans went from being our very best friends, because we were these Protestant, isolated islands in the midst of Catholic Europe, suddenly went from being our very best friends to being our enemies overnight. And it was an extraordinary time for those Germans who had married into English families, a very difficult time. And I'm sort of fascinated by how in war we bring in loads of ridiculous laws, perhaps the silliest laws we've ever had. And so, for example, in Britain, some of the laws that were brought in pretty quickly after war began was that where you weren't allowed to have pigeons. A pigeon went quite close to someone near Hyde Park and he got arrested for receiving messages from the Germans. No pigeons, no feeding strays, no whistling for taxis, no fireworks. And you were also, if you were German, you were very restricted. You weren't allowed to travel. You had to have passports to go anywhere. And you certainly weren't allowed to go anywhere near the coast, which was seen as a particularly difficult place. For example, Val Vaughan Williams, our great composer, was walking along by the cliffs of Margate when he had this marvellous idea about this music, about a sort of lark going higher and higher. And he just thought, I'm going to sit down and write down my piece of music, The Lark Ascending, on the cliffs. Well, I feel very inspired in 1915. And he was promptly arrested by a Boy Scout for sketching out the defences of Britain and whipped off to a police station as fast as they could. And he was handily released, and he would carry on writing after he'd finished, very unlike Coleridge, who after the man from Porlock knocked on the door, that was the end of Cooper Carr. I did actually meet the head of the Boy Scouts when I was doing a TV programme about the Queen, and I told him this story. He said, that's what we like in the Boy Scouts, enterprising hard work. and perhaps the silliest law that was brought in Britain, I think we do specialise in them. One of the Victorian ones was that ladies aren't allowed to eat oranges in railway carriages, which was from the 19th century laws. And we keep lawyers in business. And in 1917, Lloyd George, our great politician, he said to the country, we have 3 enemies in Britain, Germany, Austria and drink, and the worst of those is drink. He felt they were the great enemy in World War I because the working classes were exhausted by too much drinking. Also, there was a slight problem that women, who since 1916 had been working in the factories, working as nurses, they were spending their money on going to the pub, and many men wrote complaining to the newspapers in the provinces that they couldn't get to the bar because ladies, apparently, as girls, apparently, when we go to get a drink from the bar, we don't buy and move straight off. We stand there chatting, and so these gentlemen couldn't get there. And so the attempt for Lloyd George to counter these 2 problems of female drinking and drink being our great enemy was bringing in a law that you couldn't buy a drink from anyone else at the bar, so you had to buy your own drink, and that was it. That was their cunning plan to reduce queues. That was a brilliant idea. And to stop the working classes buying each other great big drinks, and then they thought that got everyone drunk. And I think this is a very silly law, but when I tweeted it to my followers, I had all these responses saying, that's amazing, is that still possible? I'm so bored of buying drinks for my dreary workmates. Hopefully they'll bring it back. And so
male leg in her mother's coffin, though it was wearing an intricately knitted sock. I asked whether it would have changed anything if it had been a female leg, and she gave a shout, cursed me in front of the priest, and said that she was taking her mother away, that she didn't belong in that utterly empty cemetery. Her daughter ran off with the coffin, and I was stuck with the leg. And one of my favorite places. It's so beautiful, the closer we come to Kirkjubergklaustur, that a wayfarer with any sense of shame might feel like covering his eyes or looking away instead of taking in everything the eye desires. A great number of mossy pumice hills, for example, which make excellent elf homes, stunning crags that the sea has licked full length, blue rivers and white rapids in the lava. Systrastapi, the mossy rock formation like a giant bone standing on end, the sublime blue of the volcanic neck, Lómagnúpur, silhouetted against the glacier. For many hours, the glacier lords it over the entire view from the ring road, dominating everything else. But it's also of such a nature that it draws out the particular characteristics of whatever surrounds it, whether big or small. In its vicinity, the sands deepen, the waters rise, it amplifies the impact of the fiery yellow buttercups and violet-pink dwarf fireweed. It vivifies the colors and forms of the thickets. The majestic bastion of Lómagnúpur would be diminished on every side if it didn't appear against the white giant. So Lómagnúpur is the magic mountain, and I will read the last lines for the Icelandic. Við erum núna að horfa á landslag þar sem eitthvað eitt öllu öðru yfirsterkara. Í marga klukkutíma drottnar jökullinn yfir öllu útsýni á hringveginn. En hann hefur líka þá náttúru að hann dregur fram sérkenni þess sem í kringum hann, hvort sem það stórt eða smátt. Sandarnir dýpka í grennd við hann, vötnin vaksa, hann magnar áhrif af eldgulri, sóley og fjólubreikri eyrarós, hann skýrir litinn á kjarrinu og lögum þess, tignalegu skutur blómagnúps myndi smækka á alla kanta ef hann bæri ekki við hvíta flikið. Rökrétt væri að hann koðnaði niður í návíðinu við það. Thank you so much.